Candace Burnett sitting at 3 and 4 in the lineup for this Green Country Little League team. In the circle for North Carolina, there's the mighty pitcher in Reese Poole sitting at 4'11".
You know, it's so funny because talking to her coach and her father, Donnell Poole, before the Southeast Regionals, he said, you know what, she's not typically a strikeout pitcher. She's more of a pitch to contact, and she has proven him wrong.
Already, first pitch swinging from Alexis Kierstead through the legs of Jordan Dry. And the first batter aboard safely for Oklahoma.
Well, one thing that we know out of Reese Poole is that she is going to throw strikes early and often. This Oklahoma team knows that, so they're already showing that they're going to be aggressive up at the plate. They're going to swing early, try to put the ball in play, and put pressure on this North Carolina defense.
And 2, 3, and 4 in this lineup certainly apply that pressure. Taylon Starr, who was held hitless yesterday, she stands in now for Oklahoma. Here at Stallings Stadium, 83 degrees outside. A little breeze here in the ballpark. West-southwest winds at 6 miles per hour, and taking off is Kierstead. Kierstead is called out at second base, and what a throw. Heads up for Alicia Carter behind the dish.
Almost looked like a bit of a delayed steal. You could see Alexis Kierstead turning back to look, and Laisha Carter throws that ball down. It's a really good throw, a very close play at second. I think that Kierstead might have gotten her foot in there, but a fantastic throw down there and a great tag by Jordan Dry at shortstop as well.
I was going to say that was really close. It looked like she may have snuck just underneath there. Remember, you do have the replay option here, but this time Coach Johnny Hutchins not using it. Meanwhile, that one is sharply hit into center field. So the first two batters aboard. Again, Kierstead retired, but Starr standing at first.
I think, again, we're seeing the aggressiveness from this Oklahoma offense. Taylon Starr driving this one right back up the middle. And just as we talked about how Reese Poole has been so dominant in the circle, not just here at the Little League Softball World Series, but throughout the regional as well, I think her defense is going to need to step it up. Just like we saw at Alicia Carter back behind the plate making that huge out, her defense is going to have to play really solid against this tough offense.
And here is Goose Hutchins. That's the nickname of Juliana Hutchins. The 12-year-old is just already so strong, tough, and she looks well beyond her years. When you watch her at the plate, in the field, she just carries herself like a ball player.
Literally everything that she does, even in her pregame warm-ups, we were sitting here watching from the booth, watching how she takes ground balls with her team. It looks like she is a college athlete out there on the field.
We saw her hit a couple of opposite field base hits yesterday, and remember, this team was trailing by 1 against New Jersey until Goose Hutchins came up to the plate and was able to tie the ball game on one of her 2 doubles. This Oklahoma team coming out of the Southwest region, winning that regional just after a couple of years of existence for Green Country Little League. They saw success in Waco, Texas, and want to see some here in North Carolina. The 0-2 to Hutchins. Fouls that one off.
I like this pitch sequence already that we're seeing out of Reese Poole going up against Juliana Hutchins, knowing that she had all those opposite field hits yesterday, and she's a batter that likes to crowd the plate. She is trying to throw her inside to see if she can get jammed up on one of these pitches. And setting her up again on the outside part of the plate. Definitely see a ton of strategy with the pitch calling already up against this Oklahoma team.
Well, Reese Poole, nicknamed Fireball by her grandfather, and she just brings a competitive edge in the circle, going right at Goose Hutchins. That one, the 7th pitch, rolling in for ball 1.
Really nice job by Laisha Carter back there behind the plate. Taylon Starr was looking to take advantage of any chance that ball had of skipping away, and Laisha Carter pops up out of that squat and makes sure she keeps it in front of her.
That one inside, fisted foul. Again, a good at-bat. Nice battle early on in this ball game. between Poole and Hutchins. Two leaders and two future stars in this game. That one cracked to center field, and that's out of here! Goose Hutchins! Nobody's gonna get it! Ow! I see you pause, standing in shock and all right next to me, Madison. Wow.
I should not be in shock because Goose Hutchins, you are going to want to remember her name. This was a phenomenal at-bat. Look at where this pitch is. This is a good pitch. It is down at her shins, but she goes down and gets it, not just with her barrel, with her legs as well. It drives it straight out to the camera in center field. Such an impressive at-bat, both by Goose Hutchins up at the plate and by Reese Poole. Those were good pitches. That is a great pitch, but that was a phenomenal piece of hitting.
Folks, if you're just tuning in, this is why this is going to be such a good game. I mean, two competitors with wills, strength, and right now, Goose Hutchins is the star of this tournament thus far at the plate. She has continued to impress. Another extra base hit for the 12-year-old. And her partner, Candace Burnett, holds her own just as well in that cleanup spot.
She did a great job yesterday sitting back on a changeup and driving it right back up the middle. We've talked a lot about this Oklahoma offense and what makes them so good. It's their ability to hit several different pitches. They don't just hit one pitch well, but they can literally hit anything that you throw them. So it's a big challenge out there for Reese Poole.
Talking about any pitch, going down and getting that one was Candace Burnett on the 1-2 count, and she's aboard safely with a one-out base hit.
And you know what? They're not afraid to get to 0-2, 1-2 counts up at the box. They have so much confidence in their ability that they know that they can hit pitches all throughout the zone and even outside of the zone. Again, not a bad pitch. That pitch is low in the zone, but Candace Burnett getting her barrel down to it, not trying to do too much, and pokes that thing out into left field.
The first baseman, Aini Hicks, takes strike one from Reese Poole. And so how does she respond after giving up that two-run homer to Goose Hutchins?
I was just going to say I would not be surprised if we start to see more and more of that off-speed, and that was a great example of it. It's not a true flip changeup where it's going to drop down a significant miles-per-hour difference, but it's just enough to get batters to swing out in front of it.
And there she is, 3 pitches and a strikeout, the first of the morning for Reese Poole.
That's exactly how you respond. Back-to-back changeups right there, setting the tone that you can throw that pitch in any count and you're confident in it. This one well up in the zone, getting Aini Hicks to swing and miss. And that was a big momentum shift back towards North Carolina with that strikeout.
First pitch swinging for Riley Dodson, handled by Dry over to first base. Shu collects it, and the inning is over, but not before Oklahoma jumps on the board.
Goose Hutchins, ice in her veins. She can hit it anywhere. This one off of her shoestrings, lifting it out into the center field wall to give her team the 2-0 lead.
North Carolina looking at their lineup, both Mila McNeely and Danica Rosa both had 2 RBI each in that 7-0 win against Indiana yesterday. You'll see them in the lineup. Starting things off is McNeely. In the circle is Zoe Griffin. Griffin getting her first start here on day 2 of the Little League Softball World Series.
And Zoe Griffin's another pitcher that really likes to move the ball well throughout the zone. Her bread and butter, her go-to pitch is a screwball, and that pitch is going to come inside to those right-handed batters and go away from the left-handed batters. So I'd definitely be looking for her to see if she can jam up a couple of these batters and do some ground balls and get her team back into the dugout to pick up the bats.
Well, Mila McNeely is a great one to start it off with this Rowan Little League team. She swings at strike one. So they shut out Indiana, but really it was a big 4th inning for them where they put up 4 runs that helped them breeze past their first opponent. Coming from behind the dish, there's Candace Burnett, and way to track that ball. She had her eye on it the entire time.
Those plays are so tough for catchers to make because you're looking up into the sun, having to run, and you're also running with this ball. So there's a ton of spin on it. You really got to focus on tracking that all the way into her glove. I also like that she didn't take any time to throw off her mask. Sometimes that can be a little bit distracting for these catchers, but she wasted no time at all, popped up out of that squat, and that's a big-time first out.
Reese Poole, one of the leaders and a big catalyst of change throughout this program, is now at the plate. She stands in ready. Zoe Griffin getting the sign and delivers. Reese Poole, who too is a two-way athlete, along with her favorite softball player and Rachel Garcia, played at UCLA and also gold medal Olympic team. Just got back from the games in Tokyo.
Rachel Garcia, just, two-time national player of the year. Fantastic hitter, great pitcher out there. Just an all-out competitor, which this North Carolina coaching staff describes Reese Poole as being ultra competitive as well. Comes through in the clutch for her team, not just up at the plate, but in the pitcher's circle as well.
And you can see it early on. All you need is a couple of indications in the circle to see how she responded after giving up that two-run homer to Goose Hutchins. She strikes out the next batter, gets out of the inning, and now she can help her own cause here. And that one smacked foul.
I think you're exactly right, Tiffany. It would have been really easy for her to get very frustrated because that was a great pitch that she threw to Goose Hutchins. It was just a good piece of hitting, and she came right back and attacked those next batters, able to get themselves out of that inning with only a two-run deficit, and it's still really early in this ball game.
She goes up and gets that one, nearly diving grab by Lily Beveridge in left field, and Reese Poole is aboard. Nice piece of hitting by the Fireball.
How about that response from Reese Poole? Gets to a two-strike count. This pitch up and inside. She gets her barrel to it, and I love the effort by Lily Beveridge out there in left field. Almost came up with a phenomenal catch, but a good way to get things started for North Carolina, getting a base runner on board by none other than Fireball, their leader.
She looks like she was taking off. Carter laying down the bunt, not able to turn the double play, but what they do is get the lead runner in Poole at second. She's retired.
Good solid defense by Zoe Griffin, immediately knowing as soon as that ball was hit to her, she was going to turn and try to get the lead runner over at second base. You notice there is no hesitation at all. She doesn't even look over to first base because she knows she can get that lead runner at two and prevent a runner from getting on over into scoring position.
2 outs now, and the cleanup hitter, Eva Shu, at the plate. Shu, who made a great diving grab in the field yesterday, also went 2 for 2. This North Carolina team coming out of the Southeast region, stunned in that regional championship game against Virginia, falling 3-2. Remember, they are the 2019, so the reigning champions is this North Carolina squad. But how about Zoe Griffin ending the inning with a strikeout?
Zoe Griffin was working that outside corner to Eva Shu, setting it up with that screwball perfectly, and on the last pitch decides to come inside with that curveball. A great pitch to sit him down, and her team's picking up the bats.
Coming from the best player in all of college softball and one of the best hitters to ever step up to the plate, I'm telling you. And look, it just runs in the blood. Something must be in the water in Oklahoma. It's streams all the way down to Muskogee, population of about 37,000 plus, the birthplace of Carrie Underwood. And let me tell you, folks love themselves some softball. They're real big OU fans there too. I know they got love for Oklahoma State as well. But Boomer Sooner runs rampant throughout.
I mean, there's something about Oklahoma and the long ball. So, I mean, we just saw one from Goose Hutchins and Jocelyn Allo, one of the best home runs, if not the best home run hitter to ever play the game. I think she had, your average 34 home runs this past season. Not to mention, I mean, Jocelyn also batted .475, so she can hit for average, she can hit for power, she can truly do it all.
And we talked about before the broadcast how cool it is to have the connectivity for now the players who they look up to be able to send them well wishes and put on social media and get on the broadcast and say, keep going, ladies, you can do it.
I think it's truly incredible for these young ladies to get to watch and almost be so close with social media to these young women that play collegiate softball, that they get to watch them do what they dream of doing. And it's a great example just having that video from Jocelyn Allo, one of the best softball players in the game today, to send that message to these young women to live out your dreams, have so much fun. And what a great opportunity for them to showcase their skills on the ESPN platforms as well. I know that was one thing reading through these questionnaires that a lot of these girls were looking forward to, was getting the opportunity to play on TV just like the stars that they watch at the Women's College World Series.
And this Little League Softball World Series provides that as Lily Beveridge hits the fly ball, and what a great diving grab by Danica Rosa. Oh yeah. That was a SportsCenter top 10 play. Can we get some love?
I mean, I'm telling you, Tiffany, this game so far is everything you could ask for. Great hitting and phenomenal defense. Danica Rosa getting a great jump on this one and laying it all out on the line out there in center field. We talked about how this defense is going to have to step up behind Reese Poole, and so far they're doing exactly that.
Well, I love just the all-out effort that you're seeing across the board from these young ladies. They got game. And as they continue to learn the sport through a great organization like Little League, providing them this platform and opportunity to showcase it to everyone. And that one rocketed over to first base. And now 2 away as Zoe Griffin is retired.
It seems like these young ladies didn't just come to the Little League Softball World Series to play on TV, but they are trying to show out. They are showing off all their skills left and right. It has been phenomenal so far, and we're only in day 2. I can't imagine what the rest of this week is going to have in store for us.
Plenty more to come with the championship game next Wednesday. You can find it on the big 4 letters, ESPN at 5 p.m. Eastern. But, of course, later today you've got Virginia, Arizona at 1 o'clock, Nevada, New Jersey, and then Missouri and Texas all in action today. A.J. Tucker, who had an RBI sac fly from day 1, gets the start here in the 9-hole. Tucker out of Morrison, Oklahoma, facing off against Reese Poole. And again, we're seeing just good swings, good cracks at it from Oklahoma.
They continue to be aggressive up at the plate, but I still like how Reese Poole is going after these hitters as well. She is not pulling back at all, knowing that they're aggressive, swinging early in the count. She's still staying right around the zone, but she's really mixing speeds, trusting in her defense, and not trying to blow it past these Oklahoma batters.
Pitch high. It's a full count now. On the ground, McNeely handles it, and a 1-2-3 inning for Reese Poole, backed up by her defense. The bats on the way, 5, 6, and 7 for North Carolina when we return. it not once but twice, 2 times Little League Softball World Series champions, and former teammates and players who have come through this Rowan Little League have come back and talked to this group. The 2019 crew did here. 2015, they've heard from them as well. Madison, that's nice to just pass on those nuggets of information and wisdom.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. In that picture right there, we saw the manager of the team, Steve Yang, over there on the left. Campbell Shane was in that picture as well. She was a big-time lefty pitcher and helped them win in 2019. And also Steve Yang's daughters, both Ellen and Ashley, were in that picture as well, just kind of talking to the girls about what it's like to play in this type of situation, because it is a bit of a pressure situation. You're here at the Little League World Series. There's a lot going on. There's cameras, there's ESPN, and so they talk to them just about how to calm their nerves, but most of all, to go out there and have fun. And you can tell that all of these young ladies are having so much fun when they're out there on the field.
Jordan Dry looking to have some fun and get the hitting party started for North Carolina. Instead, back-to-back strikeouts going back to last inning for Zoe Griffin.
Zoe Griffin is throwing with some really good velocity out there in the circle. We had talked about how her screwball was her bread and butter. She likes to come inside to those right-handed batters, and it's setting up perfectly those pitches on the outside half of the plate. North Carolina is really going to have to try to get their timing down off of the great velocity we're seeing out of Zoe Griffin.
Look at that strike-to-ball ratio, 13 to just 2. Now add another in the strike column in just 16 pitches for her.
So impressive, just her command in the circle and how efficient she is. And she seems to have control of a lot of these at-bats just from a momentum standpoint, because she is getting ahead so often on these batters.
Leah Troutman trailing in the count, 0-1. She smacks it and it nearly hits Griffin going back up the middle. She squeaks that one out for a single.
Aggressive offense we're seeing on both sides of the field today. Leah Troutman falling behind in an 0-1 count and just attacks the very next pitch that she sees. It's low and inside. That's the screwball located right at the knees. She gets her barrel underneath it, hands inside, and able to pop that one right back up the middle for a base hit.
Here's Danica Rosa, the 4'11" center fielder who made an outstanding grab already in this ball game, and Rosa with a chance here. Teammate at first base, trailing 2-0 here in the bottom of the second.
Tiffany, I always think it's funny how the game works when you're out there on defense and you make a phenomenal play. I can pretty much guarantee you're coming up that very next inning. So I'd imagine that Danica Rosa is going to try to carry that momentum that she gained in the field up in her at-bat right now.
The grounder over to second base. Tag out. Call it. Double play to end the inning. Well, A.J. Tucker backing up the defense. Zoe Griffin only had to expend 8 pitches that inning.
A.J. Tucker just showing off, knowing where she's at, applying the tag, firing it over to first for the 4-3 a double play to end the inning.
Together in a family-like atmosphere. They like the competitiveness, but it helps to build and bring together community.
Well, and Coach Galvin said that it's truly a game that brings them all together, brings them closer as a community, because they all have the same love for the game. And they've made a lot of friends through that, and they have holiday celebrations, and it's a wide age group or age range of fans as well, from age 8 all the way 50s, 60s, you name it. The entire community is a huge fan of softball.
And I love the representation that it gives to a sport, to show that it's a far-reaching sport that goes and touches a number of different communities and cultures. A very strong tie to the Native American heritage. Well, top of the order here, Alexis Kierstead sees that one dribble foul. She'll come back to the plate. Remember, she reached on an error before being thrown out at second base back in the first.
That was a really smart play by Reese Poole as well. Kierstead has some good wheels up at the plate, and that one's spinning. And Reese Poole realized that she wasn't going to be able to pick it up in fair territory and still have time to get her out at first. So she let that one spin foul, give her a chance to get her out on the next pitch.
Kierstead hitting that one. Again, some really good, sharply hit foul balls that we're seeing off the bats of Oklahoma. The 2-2 from Poole. Right back to Poole. She bats it down, able to get it over to first base, and one retired.
Reese Poole showing off the defense on that one. That was a hard hit ball right back to her. Kierstead right on time for this one, and you see it bounces, and it looks like it hits Reese Poole right in the glove, and she immediately reaches down with that bare hand, picks it up, and fires it over to first for the first out of this inning.
Yes, that was a scorcher, Madison, but did you see Reese Poole flinch at all?
Fireball is not phased at all. Not phased at all in the circle.
She's like, it's coming in hot. I can handle it. Reese Poole, who is the daughter of Coach Donnell Poole, who calls the pitches. Very competitive family as Taylon Starr pops that one into foul territory, and it's out number 2. This competitive edge that you're seeing from Reese Poole is worth mentioning time and time again. Why? Because after giving up that 2-run homer and then that single right behind, she's retired the last 7 batters.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're seeing that changeup being thrown more and more often. You saw it right there, her trying to throw that one first pitch to Juliana Hutchins up at the plate, just getting rid of it a little bit too soon. That's why it skipped down in the dirt, but you can see she's trying to work that pitch low in the zone to try to induce a ground ball.
And again, this is an in-game test that's going to be fun to see every time Poole and Hutchins are at the plate. This one, again, an opposite field hit once more, looking like she was yesterday. Another Oppo double standing up at second base. I wonder how much she practices hitting. She says she does a lot with her father.
Well, look how far off the plate this pitch is. Again, another good pitch out of the hand of Reese Poole, almost throwing it in that right-handed batter's box. But Goose Hutchins just throws her hands to it. Again, not trying to pull it to right field, going with the pitch and just dumps that thing out into left field for a double.
And Hutchins going over to third base on the wild pitch. So she is having herself quite the tournament thus far. Day 2, she's 5 for 5 in there. Heads up base running.
Very aggressive, no hesitation at all. She takes her lead, immediately sees it skip off of Laisha Carter back there behind the plate and takes off to third, getting 60 feet closer to tacking on another run for her team.
There's that change from Reese Poole.
And it is a really nice pitch. I think she can throw it in any count, and we've already seen her throw them back-to-back as well, so she has a ton of confidence in that off-speed.
I want to correct myself. That was a pass ball in which Hutchins was able to move to third base. A close one there and a good look for Hutchins, who is 9 for 11 the postseason. She's not been able to miss here so far since being in Greenville. Burnett evens the count at 2-all.
And we talk a lot about Goose Hutchins, but Candace Burnett has had some phenomenal at-bats behind her as well, hitting changeups, hitting curveballs, being very patient up there, but really attacking a pitch if she sees it.
Good stop there by Carter. And go ahead and use that math real quick, Madison. What was she in the regional tournament?
What did you say? She's already 7 for 11 so far in.
No, 8 for 10 in the regional tournament.
8 for 10 in the regional tournament. Let me calculate that up. My mental calculator. Oh, 800. 800.
Right back to Poole again, defending her position well, and the stand-up double. Nothing doing for Oklahoma. They leave Goose Hutchins stranded. Champion and runner-up. Out of the 5 regions, make up the field of 10 teams here at the Little League World Series. The 0-2, Lyerly going up and chasing, and she sits down. 3rd strikeout of the ball game for Zoe Griffin.
We've talked a lot about this Oklahoma team's offense, but I think their pitching has really shown out. We're seeing it from Zoe Griffin today, but Cambry Casey threw really well in this game. Zoe Griffin moving the ball all throughout the zone, working that pitch up well. And she's very efficient, throwing tons of strikes.
And this one just tagged. Tried to apply the tag down the first base line, but somehow it's Maddie Baker who was able to skirt around, and she stands at first.
And I believe that's a pinch hitter, Josephina Hunn, that came in, and her forte is laying down the sneaky bunt and using her speed. She does exactly that, dropping it down to the first baseline, and it looks like she did indeed avoid that tag over there. A great piece of bunting and phenomenal base running getting down that first base line.
So changing it up is Donnell Poole, and that's what they need to perhaps give them a spark plug. Now you have speed on the bases with Hunn at first, a player who's very fast, and you see her, she's just a machine when it comes to laying down that bunt. So back to the top with Mila McNeely. That one gets over the glove of Burnett. And so now a runner in scoring position for North Carolina.
This is exactly what North Carolina needed. They're typically not an offense that's known for having a ton of power up at the plate, but they are scrappy, they are competitive, and they are going to move runners over. That's exactly what Josephina Hunn did, is kind of sparked this offense with that base hit bunt down the first baseline.
And that one nicked McNeely, so McNeely will take first base. She's hit by the pitch, and runners at first and second with 1 out.
And it looked like McNeely was going to turn to square to lay down a sacrifice bunt, and as she's pulling it back, it hits her right there on the right arm. Turns to square, pulling it back. You had to get it right there on the bicep, it looks like.
Yeah.
She seems to be okay down there at first base. At this point, North Carolina is going to take base runners however they can get them, especially with Reese Fireball Poole coming up to the plate.
And because of that, Haley Galvin coming out to the circle to have a quick conversation with Zoe Griffin and Candace Burnett to make sure the approaches.
Each batter, 1 pitch at a time, okay? You're good enough
Tidy
to be
up,
out
let's
here.
listen in.
You're good enough to get out of it, okay? Let your defense work. You got a pretty good defense behind you, okay? Work with Candace. It's just you two. That batter's just in there, okay? Get her out of the way. Okay, here we go. Thank you.
You heard the advice from Galvin. Hey, look, the defense worked for you.
She's got a ton of confidence in her battery out there, telling her to just work with Candace. It's just you and her out there. Sometimes if you let the situation get too big in your mind, you're going to nitpick your pitches. You're going to try just a little bit too hard. So that's what she's trying to tell her, is just to settle down. It's just her and her catcher out there. Don't even worry about the batter. Just throw it to your catcher.
Poole, first pitch swinging, pops it up. Shallow right field. Calling for it is Kierstead. And a big out retire with Poole going back to the dugout.
Reese Poole being aggressive yet again up at the plate. This one an outside pitch that she just gets too far underneath it. And for a second, I thought we might see Josephina Hunn try to tag and advance to third from second base, but she decided that that ball was just too shallow in the grass, wasn't able to advance. And now's a big 2-out opportunity for Laisha Carter.
Carter, again, to right field. Kierstead busy both times and catching it both times as well. 2 runners left on base for North Carolina, not able to manufacture a run, cut away at this lead. It's Oklahoma still on top. Today, Reese Poole only allowed 1 hit, struck out 6 as North Carolina shut out Indiana. And then to close out things, it was Haley Arvidsson and New York holding Arizona scoreless. Arvidsson was also phenomenal as well. So we have seen some terrific performances, and don't expect that to stop. It's just going to keep getting better.
No, these pitchers did great in their regionals, and we're seeing it here again today at the Little League Softball World Series. There's a good look at Cambry Casey right there. You see 6 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts. One common theme that I see with several of these pitchers is their ability to, one, command several of their pitches. They don't just throw 1 pitch for a strike. They can throw all of their pitches for strikes. But also their ability to get ahead of batters. I can't talk about that enough. When you're a pitcher and you're getting ahead of these batters, you have all the control in that at-bat. When you get ahead, you have the ability to throw the ball out of the zone, mix speeds, throw it everywhere. That is a huge, huge reason why the pitchers have been so great so far.
Yeah, we saw a lot of first and second pitch swinging, talking about getting ahead in the count. They were somewhat aided by the batters, the aggressiveness there, but I love the command that we have seen. I mean, these young ladies just don't seem shaken. They don't seem like this is too big of a moment, that they are ready. They've embraced it. They've had about 2.5 months to work on it to get to this point. And so you said it before, Madison, they're not just here just to be here like, hey, we made it, but they're here to try to win, compete, and be the best at their best selves.
With those questionnaires, when asked what their favorite part of Little League is, several of them put winning. They're very competitive, mindseted players out there. And just thinking back to the pitching and their ability to get ahead of these batters, what I think it does as well from a hitting perspective is it changes your approach. If you're a batter that likes to go up there and see a lot of pitches, you're going to have to completely change your game plan. You're going to have to be aggressive early in the count so that you're not falling behind to an 0-2, 1-2 count every single at-bat. So it almost speeds up your mindset as a hitter when those pitchers are doing such a good job of getting ahead as well.
Miley Needham, the pinch hitter now for Oklahoma. She's got a full count here. Favorite athlete, Larry Bird. Not a bad one at all. Ran off a number of championships with the Boston Celtics, and here she is aboard with a leadoff walk.
And just as we were talking about that command of several different pitches, we can see Reese Poole trying to throw that off speed in there. And just not able to locate that one. Just kind of slips out of her hand. We need to remind you all at home that it is very warm. It is very humid. So these pitchers being able to get a good grip on those seams is something that you're going to see going on throughout the rest of today's ball games. Having to utilize, you can see that towel that's in the back pocket of Reese Poole. Doing whatever she can to keep her hand as dry as possible, utilizing the dirt, utilizing that towel to make sure she gets a good grip on that softball before she throws that pitch.
Fouled away by Riley Dodson. To your point about the heat, it's in the low 80s right now, but we know that number is going to steadily rise. Watching the news this morning, just locally, they said a heat wave is on the way. Temperatures could touch 100. Snap throw back to first base.
Well, there even was a heat advisory during yesterday's afternoon game, so there were some times where everybody here at Little League was taking the precautions to make sure the girls were taking a little bit of extra time in the dugout to cool off.
Extra time not needed for Riley Dodson as she jumps on that pitch. And the single, and now Oklahoma has runners at first and second.
Nice job by Riley Dodson here. You see her get her front foot down, keep her hands inside of that inside pitch, and what that allows you to do is get the sweet spot of the barrel on that pitch and drive it out into left field. A really solid base hit to continue this rally for Oklahoma.
Please now entering the game, batting for Oklahoma is number 17, Aubrey Davis.
We'll listen in here to Coach Donnell Poole.
Hit the outside pitch. She was looking for a wall.
Okay.
I was trying to tell you for 4-2-1, but you weren't listening.
Okay, I'll look. Hey, you got to get your changeup working. Come on. Yeah.
And he told his daughter, you got to get that changeup working, because that was the difference. After giving up that home run to Goose Hutchins, you saw it, Madison. That changeup started to work in favor for Poole.
It's a very deceptive pitch. Like I've said, it comes out looking exactly like her higher velocity pitches. So as a batter, when you see it coming out looking the same, you're anticipating it coming in about mid-50s, and then all of a sudden, when it's too late, you realize that thing is a little bit slower and you're out in front of the ball. But we saw her already kind of have a hard time gripping that softball.
Aubrey Davis, the pinch hitter, coming in, doing her job. The sacrifice bunt laid down. Both runners move into scoring position.
That's great textbook softball right there. A pinch hitter coming up off the bench. And Aubrey Davis knew in that moment her job was to advance those runners 60 feet, and she executes that sacrifice bunt so perfectly. And I love how fired up her teammates are in the dugout, because sacrifice bunts are not as easy as they look. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of focus, a lot of concentration, and she's able to come in, lay down that bunt, and get her teammates 60 feet closer to scoring.
And now the winning pitcher from yesterday, Cambry Casey, now standing in. A chance to drive home some more runs and expand this lead for Oklahoma. She threw a perfect game earlier in the season, and yesterday picked up the win. When you're looking at these two pool teams of both Jenny Finch and Jessica Mendoza, named after a couple of softball icons, the top 8 will advance. The 5th place team from each pool will be eliminated, and then we'll go into bracket play starting Monday. This one sharply hit on the knees from Troutman, and Troutman throws it, but Needham is able to slide underneath in time. The RBI, fielder's choice.
Cambry Casey coming through, just puts this ball in play and makes something happen. And look at the effort by Leah Troutman over there at first base. She makes a great stop, goes down to her knees to get that ball and throws it, but it's just a bit high and a bit late. And that allows another Oklahoma run to come across the board. But that effort by Leah Troutman prevented the runner at second base from scoring. So although she didn't get that out at home, she prevented another run from coming across.
You just love the softball IQ that you're seeing from these young ladies. You know, you have to remember that these are preteens and young teenagers. They're just still babies. Cheyenne Dill, the pinch hit, and what a grab backhanded by McNeely to make the tag at second base. Is she out?
She was called out.
Right.
So the umpire did call her out at second base. Let's take another look at this. Mila McNeely with the diving stop up the middle, knows where she's at, and tags the base with her glove. Where the question is here is there was a bit of a bobble. Tags the base there, and then it looks like the ball pops out. But the question I think here that is being asked was, did that ball pop out before she made that tag, or was it on what they're going to call a transfer? Did she already secure that tag, make the out before the ball popped out of the glove? Taking another look at it here.
It almost feels like it's simultaneous.
It
just
does.
as she's touching the bag, the ball comes out a little bit.
And I think it's important to note that the call on the field was out. So that was the call that the umpire made over there at second base, that she was out. And just as we were talking about the effort defensively from these players, Mila McNeely again showing out, and the awareness as well, knowing that because she dove up the middle, she didn't have an opportunity to throw the ball over to first and get that out. And it does look like they're going to overturn the call and call her safe at second base, and because of that, Coach for North Carolina, Donnell Poole, is going to come out to have another conversation with the umpires.
And so now this is another big deal. Why? One, because another run is pushed across. And two, you still have runners on base. And scary because, hey, top of the order is coming up for Oklahoma.
So it looks like they're going to go to video replay now. And this is a curious situation because the call was originally out on the field. Then the umpires overturned it, so now the call on the field is safe. So now they're going to video replay to either confirm or change the safe call on the field that was previously an out call, if that all makes sense.
Yeah. No, it totally does, but there's just a lot of back and forth. But the bottom line is you want to get it right in these types of situations, right? So that's why it's here. It's something new. It's something that's been introduced, and we've seen that across all sports. And I'm telling you, I don't care what the call is. Mila McNeely made one heck of an effort.
Oh, that was just a fantastic effort up the middle. And her nickname is ESPN for the SportsCenter top 10 plays that she makes for this North Carolina team. And already we've seen a couple of them throughout this World Series. Yesterday, she made a great diving catch on a ball in the infield. And here we're seeing her again laying it all out on the line. I keep looking at this. It is so close. When I'm looking at it, I think that ball might have popped out. You know, when her glove is hitting the base, it looks like she doesn't quite have full control of the ball. Right there is when I'm seeing it start to move.
And the call is she is safe. So 4-0. And Madison, you know what? I thought she was named ESPN because she wanted to take your spot.
Well, you know what? It could be about. It's a two-parter, right? She wants to take our spot up here in the booth, but she's also going to make some SportsCenter top 10 plays out there on the field while she's down there. She's just truly showing us up all over the place. It's basically what's happening.
Wild pitch gets past Carter. Runners advance. But between McNeely and Rosa earlier today, or this morning in center field, I mean, this is just game one. We got 3 more games to go.
Can't believe it. The level of play for these young ladies is just unreal.
Kirsten through the 3-4 hole along the right side. It's going to score 2. Tagging up, it's Dill and Casey. And now Oklahoma starting to pour it on.
Alexis Kierstead jumping all over this outside pitch. Again, the keys with the outside pitch is to not try to pull it to left field. You want to go where the pitch takes you, and that's exactly what Kierstead does on that swing. Pokes it right through the 3-4 hole to allow 2 runs to come across the board for Oklahoma. Just another example of the great hitting that we've been seeing out of Oklahoma, their ability to hit several different pitches.
Let's listen in to Coach Donnell Poole, who's going to make a pitching change here.
Tell them it's all good. I mean, they reviewed it. Did the ball come out before you touched second? I know you had control of it then, but when it goes to the wheels report, they review it. It is what it is. Come on, babe. Let's go. No, you stand in.
Oh, shoot. I forgot my stuff.
Oh, well, I'll get you one. Yeah, we got dirt here, baby. We all right.
And you like that from Coach Donnell Poole. Look, he goes, he asks his player, what was the call? What was your feeling? But no matter what happens, you just got to shake it off. Put it in your rearview mirror and keep going.
And if you're any defender, any softball player out there that's made a play like that, you're going to answer the exact same way. You're going to say, I had control of it all the way. But just a phenomenal effort that Mila McNeely gave over at second base.
And so now a pitching change has been made as Regan Williams now in the circle, the 11-year-old out of Rockwell, North Carolina. And her favorite pitcher is Jenny Finch, her favorite softball player in total is Jenny Finch, and now she has the opportunity here to try to get out of this inning without giving up any more runs. The hole is already pretty deep for North Carolina.
Now Reagan Williams is going to have to channel Jenny Finch in this situation. Just move the ball all throughout the zone and trust in the defense. We've already seen what incredible plays that they can make behind her. Force Oklahoma to put the ball in play. Try to get another couple of outs here to give your team an opportunity to come back and score in the bottom of the 4th inning.
So as the changes are recorded, it's Taylor Starr who is set to bat for Oklahoma.
Entering the game for North Carolina's number 29 at Reagan Williams for number 25, Liam Troutman in the 6th spot. And now pitching for North Carolina is number 29, Reagan Williams.
More softball on the way here from Stallings Stadium. Virginia, Arizona coming up next, followed by Nevada, New Jersey, and then Missouri and Texas will have the nightcap. First pitch over the head of Carter. And the runner advancing as Kierstead standing now at second. Well, these are two great teams with good runs during regionals.
Here it looks like Reagan Williams just having a little bit of a hard time finding the strike zone. You can see her reaching down to grab the dirt. Remember, it is warm, it is humid, so that's something that she's going to have to figure out quickly.
And awards the walk, 4 pitches straight to Taylor Starr. And it doesn't get any easier with Goose Hutchins now at the plate.
We already know what a great hitter Goose Hutchins is up at the plate. You can see they're running out some rosin, yeah, making sure that she gets a good grip. But here's an opportunity too. You've got runners on first and second, 1 away. I would be doing whatever I could to try to induce a ground ball to see if you could get a force out at either first, second, or third base to try to get some momentum back on your side.
This one is smacked and tattooed in the center field, but it stays in the park. Danica Rosa near the fence. The onslaught now for Oklahoma. Is everything working well for them, falling in their favor?
So this is a deep fly ball off the bat of Goose Hutchins into center field. Danica Rosa catches it all the way back by the warning track, and it's Alexis Kierstead who tags all the way from second base, and Taylor Starr, who was at first base when that ball was put in play, kept the wheels rolling and ends up scoring on the sac fly from first base.
And they are pouring it on here. 6 runs scored in this 4th inning, but just 1 out to get for North Carolina. Needham back at the plate, who started off this inning with a walk. Waits on that one, good patience at the plate. Another base hit. And Oklahoma is rolling.
And a good pitch out of the hand of Reagan Williams, taking a little bit off of this, but Needham does a great job of keeping her weight and her hands back. What that does is it allows you to still get power into that swing, even though that pitch was a bit off speed. She drives that thing out into left field to continue this hitting rally for Oklahoma.
Riley Dotson fouls that one back. Dotson, 13 years old in the 8th grade. And just a reminder, our viewers at home, if a team has a 15-run lead after 3 innings, then there is a run rule 10 or more after 4 innings. And I'll say this, coming into these situations, they're not easy, Madison. And so for Reagan Williams, who had to inherit runners, there was already a rhythm that this Oklahoma team had gotten into. These are tough situations to come into and try to get out of.
Well, there's a lot of adjustments that you have to make in the circle as well. We've already mentioned that it is very warm, it is very humid. You can see that rosin bag back there, but also having to adjust to the strike zone back there behind home plate, working to try to find her rhythm in the circle as well. And it's not easy going up against this Oklahoma offense. They hit a ton of different pitching, doesn't matter what speed, what location. They've been able to put good, solid barrel on a ton of different pitches so far in this game.
So back at the plate is Aubrey Davis. Davis, see that one high, good catch there from Carter behind the dish.
And it almost seemed like Aubrey Davis coming off of the bench and laying down that fundamental sacrifice bunt kind of sparked this offense as well.
Off the glove of Williams to throw to first, not in time. Another run plated for Oklahoma.
Aubrey Davis is super excited to be over there at first base, driving this one back up the middle. Reagan Williams almost is able to come up with it. A nice play by Jordan Dry at shortstop to pick it up and fire it over to first base. Just wasn't able to get it there in time. And now Oklahoma finds themselves 1 run away from that run rule territory.
You just please now re-entering the game, batting for Oklahoma, number 22.
Re-entering the game is the pitcher, Zoe Griffin, so she's back at the plate.
And I think it completely changed the trajectory of this inning.
And so the call, we're being told, is going to stand as is. So the runner is safe at first base and the base is loaded for Zoe Griffin. And Griffin, she can bring home 1 more run. That would close out North Carolina here on day 2. Griffin, who we've seen have great command in the circle, also brings a really good work ethic to this team. That one getting past Carter and sliding in, and that is the deciding run. Needham is in safely.
And it's
so
still
North Carolina still gets a chance, however, because we're in the top half of the inning, to get a chance and keep this game going.
a great effort by Laisha Carter back there behind the plate as well, trying to get that tag on. And it's really important for North Carolina here to try to get out of this inning as quickly as possible, because as you mentioned, Tiffany, they do have an opportunity to come up and hit in the bottom of the 4th inning. And at this point, all they would need in the bottom of the 4th inning, if the score holds, is 1 run to continue this game, to give themselves another opportunity to come back up to the plate.
And a chance, too, to just kind of shake off some of this as they play tomorrow, but they are the last game tomorrow night. They will face off against New Jersey. Again, you can catch all games here on our ESPN networks. And that will end the inning. But 8 runs put up by Oklahoma. North Carolina, when we come back, will come up to the plate.
Little League would like to thank our official partners, including T-Mobile and Major League Baseball's Play Ball Initiative, for their continued support. All
A lead of 10 or more runs after 4 innings, then it's a run rule victory. So that 1 run, oh so important for North Carolina, and they will get a new face in the circle to go off against, and so maybe they can have some luck here.
Yeah, for North Carolina, I think you got to look at this almost as a fresh start, a brand new inning. Don't even look at the scoreboard. It doesn't matter what the score is. You're just focusing on this one pitch, this one at-bat at a time. And you know that you can't win this ball game with just one swing. So you have to do whatever you can to string together quality at-bats one after another. So don't try to make the situation too big here. Just get things going with maybe a base runner to start a rally. But Riley Dotson's going to do whatever she can here in the pitcher's circle to prevent that from happening.
Well, there are 4 different pitchers on this staff that, Oklahoma likes to call on a number of different arms, and we've seen that kind of be an approach that's worked really well. It's happening more and more in college softball. We've seen it done in the game of baseball for some time, but between Casey, Griffin, Dotson, Needham can also get in the circle if needed.
Well, I can't help but think back to the days of the greats Monica Abbott and Kat Osterman, where they pretty much threw every single inning throughout an entire collegiate season. And you're exactly right, Tiffany. It seems like teams are really trending towards using an entire pitching staff, not just one pitcher.
Sharply hit by Shu, but Iny Hicks, Needham over at first base to tag first and 1 down.
And sometimes that can be so frustrating as a batter when you finally put good barrel on the ball. All of a sudden there's a defender there right there to snag it before it gets out into the outfield for a base hit. But a really nice play by Miley Needham over there at first to get that first out.
Here's Jordan Dry. Well, folks, you can find Little League on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the official handles @Little League. Follow the action and join the conversation with hashtag LLWS. And if you've paid attention on the boys' side, Little League baseball in action, regional play, how about that home run hit in the Field of Dreams before today's exhibition game between the New York Yankees and the Chicago White Sox? Pretty cool moments. Those are some special memories that will forever stick with these youngsters. Dry picked up easily, routinely by Hutchins at third, and now 2 down.
Now this Oklahoma team just really seems to have it all going on. This is really the first game I think I've seen them play throughout this tournament that their defense, their hitting, their pitching has been on all cylinders. Now, they hit the ball great yesterday, but it really came from the heart of their lineup. Today, we've seen it all the way 1 through 13, everybody getting the job done for them, along with stellar pitching in the circle and some great defense to go along with it.
And I think we've marveled at the fact that, coming into this Little League Softball World Series, they have not had a lot of time to work together. These are all-stars that were brought together, and this Green Country Little League has figured it out very quickly, looks solid in region play. They went undefeated, and they look to remain that way here at the Little League Softball World Series.
Yeah, they only had 2 practices together before that Southwest Regional, which makes this even more impressive that they've been able to come together and bond so quickly and perform so well on the field.
1-2 count to Reagan Williams. Tried to frame that one. Burnett doesn't get the call. Ball outside. Pitch from Dotson. Swing and a miss. Gets away from Burnett. Throws to first base. Throws her out. And that's ball game. Oklahoma with a monster win here. Their bats were booming from the Southwest region. They come out with a 10-0 victory over North Carolina.
Another great pitching performance that we've seen out of Oklahoma, but I really think that it was Goose Hutchins setting the tone in the first inning with that 2-run home run that they are here and they are here to win.
Well, folks, I hope you have a great appetite for softball because we've got 3 more games on the way. Coming up next at 1 Eastern, it's Virginia taking on Arizona. Remember, all games are airing on the ESPN networks and are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.